Before it was Africa, it was Alkebulan, the mother of mankind. Alkebulan is said to mean mother of mankind or Garden of Eden in some Afrocentric traditions. It's also sometimes described as land of the blacks, a land of kings and queens, of wisdom, gold, and towering civilizations. But as Alkebulan began to rise, a shadow fell over her. Those who saw her strength feared her future. So they didn't just invade her lands. They designed a system to break her spirit. A blueprint, not for war, but for slow, generational submission. They knew if Alkebulan ever stood united, the world would shift. So they made sure she never could. They split her people by tribe, by tongue, by belief. Drew borders not to protect, but to provoke. Every time her children tried to join hands, they whispered old wounds. Remember what they did to you. And Alkebulan bled, not from outsiders, but from the blades they put in her children's hands. They searched for the weak among the powerful, and the greedy among the brave. They offered thrones to those who would sell her future for silver. And when a true son or daughter rose to defend her, they vanished, silenced, bought, or buried. Then they rewrote her story, called her kingdoms tribes, her gods primitive, her warriors savages. They trained her brightest children to dream, not of healing Alkebulan, but of escaping her. They made her question her own reflection, until she no longer saw a queen, but a beggar. They let her dig, but never refine, let her sell, but never profit. When she tried to build, they broke her banks. When she tried to grow, they started fires in her fields if one of her nations dared to rise. They made an example of it for all the others to see. They owned the mirror she looked into, told her she was broken, told the world she was chaos. And when she created beauty, they ignored it. When she triumphed, they called it luck. They built a world where she needed them, even to believe in herself. They kept her armies weak, her debts high, her choices limited, so that every step toward freedom was met with 1,000 invisible hands pulling her back down. And with every failed revolution, every silenced voice, they taught the next generation, don't rise, don't try, it's impossible. Africa was once called Kemet, Fasadi, Libya, Ifrin, Africa Terra, but never Alkebulan. Still, the name Alkebulan survives, not because of what was, but because of what was taken. And perhaps that's where the real tragedy begins. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Africa's brightest minds, doctors, engineers, scholars, artists, leave, not because they want to, but because they must. They flee broken systems, corruption, war, lack of opportunity. They are raised in lands of gold, oil, diamonds, yet struggle for water and Wi-Fi. They dream in Yoruba, but must code in English. They pray in Kiswahili, but apply for jobs in French. Their ancestors built pyramids, yet today they build someone else's nation. Overlay footage, scientists in US labs, African students in European universities, empty African classrooms. Africa loses not just minds, but futures. Every passport stamp, a piece of Alkebulan drifting away. They renamed her, and we forgot what she was called. But not everyone forgot. Beneath the dust, beneath the silence, a name still breathes. Alkebulan, a word not found in textbooks, but whispered in bones, sung in rivers, buried in tongues they told us to unlearn. They called her Africa, but before conquest, before maps, she had another name. And names, they carry power. Alkebulan, a name said to mean mother of mankind, the place where time took its first breath, before the world drew borders, before it learned to divide skin and silence language. There was Alkebulan, not a country, not a continent, a spirit. But how does a name disappear? Who decides what we forget? So no, history may not prove that Alkebulan was carved into stone, but maybe it was carved into us. Maybe we don't speak it because we were never taught. Maybe it waits, like all lost things do, for someone brave enough to remember. And maybe that someone is you, not to repeat the past, but to reclaim the future, to speak the name that reminds us we were never meant to survive. We were meant to rise. Alkebulan, she is not forgotten. She is becoming. But Alkebulan was never dead. She was sleeping, and now she stirs. Her children are waking. Her spirit is rising. Her voice is returning. The blueprint is known. The system is exposed. And this time, Alkebulan writes her own future. They called her poor, but she's the richest soul on earth. They called her broken, but she was only bound. Alkebulan is not what they said she was, and her time is now. Bell subscribe. Speaking Head share this story, because the world needs to know. You can't keep a continent down forever.